All right, hey everyone. We're here doing the King Ugly
Oh,
Crew.
okay, wait, do that again. Holy cow, that was terrible.
I don't know.
Just do a. Thanks for coming to the King Ugly Crew again, guys. Tonight we're going to be talking about our first jobs. Should be
Leave it.
entertaining.
Just leave it. That's hilarious.
Just leave it the way it is. We'll just keep going from here.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Sounds great. I would like to introduce everyone coming in today. We got Baron, Case Isaiah, Dane, and Lonnon, and we are going to be talking about our first jobs. We're going to throw this over to Dane and get him started on where he started first.
Absolutely. So, Twin Falls, Idaho is where I had my first job. And, obviously not my first job. That's working for Dad as slave labor. But, Lonnon, do you remember where I got my first job?
The Gross Me Outlet.
Absolutely.
It was my first job, but that's not the one I'm going to talk about, so we're good.
Yep, grocery outlet. Oh, I think I know which one you're going to talk about. Grocery outlet and working for Gus Bowman. He was the, I'm going to say owner. I think it was franchised out, but I'm not positive about that. But he was a good guy. Lived in our ward, friends with our dad. And so, yeah,
So, hold on real quick. Why do you guys call it the Gross Me Outlet? What's wrong with it?
Because everything that was there was a little bit different or odd.
It
or
was
gross.
It was like no name brand stuff. I mean, there was some name brand stuff. All the name brand stuff was past the expiration date.
Or
And I mean,
close to it.
let's be honest, past the expiration date really doesn't mean you can't eat it anymore. And I mean, it's as soon as it hit that date in a grocery store, it got sent out to the grocery outlets. They bought it for like, pennies on the dollar. And then, I mean, grocery outlet, a normal thing, let's say it cost $5, you'd probably pay like 75 cents for it at grocery outlet, but it might be,
Yeah, you might
4 or
get
5 days past.
You might get like an
Potentially.
Idaho spud that from the grocery store would have been $1.50 or whatever they were, probably $1 back then. And at the grocery outlet, it was 25 cents, I think. Maybe not even that.
Yep, it was 25 cents. Yep. So, yep, my first job started there, and I was a trasher, which was where you up and down the aisles, and you just basically just made the aisles look good. So,
Forward face stuff. Yeah.
forward face, pull cans forward. Just make it look nice. Get rid of boxes.
Move the oldest stock to the front, put the other stuff in back.
What was the title of that? Trasher?
Trasher.
Yeah,
yep.
trasher. That's what they called it. I've heard it called different things at different stores, but that's what we referred to it as a trasher, because you were
Yep.
pulling trash off the shelves as well.
And
like
it
literally.
was the way they'd say it is, did you go trash that aisle? And you'd be like, oh no, I haven't trashed that one yet. So that's the terminology that was used. But
Okay.
yeah, but I was 15 when I got that job, and in Idaho you can work when you're 15. I had to be off by 7 p.m. because of state laws, and shoot, I think minimum wage was like $4.25 back then, and I was making
Yep.
like $4.75.
Which was
so-
pretty good. I mean, that would have been what, 94?
Let's see, 93, 94. I was a sophomore, so yeah, it was 93, 94 is when that was, and I think I started working. It was like right after football season when I started working at grocery outlet. But it was a good job, I learned hard work from it. I learned that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I learned that if I wanted to move up and go do something different, I had to show that I was worth it. So,
Did you work under Brian Kemper, or who was your
Yep,
immediate?
Kemper.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, and then I also did a lot of stuff for Gus. It was funny, Lana. Do you remember Jen, my girlfriend, my junior year?
I think so, off the top of my head. I mean,
So, Jen Bickley, her dad,
yep.
he worked at Grocery Outlet. He was the assistant manager under Gus, and this I didn't work there at the time. Well, they moved to Layton, Utah. The Bickleys did, and so Jen's dad asked Gus if he could borrow some employees, and and
Because he was going to be the general manager down in
yeah,
Layton.
he was going to be a general manager of the one in Layton of the grocery outlet. And Gus knew that Jen and I were dating, and I was pretty flattered because he said, "Look, you can take anybody you want here, but Dane Jensen is who I'd take with me if I was going down there." And I think I was only like 16 or 17 at the time, but for Gus to have that much faith in me, I think I only worked there for like 9 months, maybe a year. And I was, like I said, I started when I was 15, but that was a pretty good stoke to my confidence. So, yep, first job, Gross Me Outlet, Twin Falls, Idaho, working for Gus Bowman and Brian Kemper, and I learned a lot. Hard work pays off.
Yeah, it's so funny because that really was my first job as well. But like, I don't know if I consider it because I always thought of it as like, what would you call it? Like not holiday work, but if he needed somebody, seasonal kind of like if he got to a point,
Per diem.
he pretty much would do it when he was doing inventory. He'd hire me and he would let me, like if I would have wanted to stay, he would have let me stay. But I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, give me some cash and then I'm out.
Just spending money at that point.
Yeah, because I was 15, maybe only 14 when I started there. Maybe
Right? You were 15,
No,
Lonnon.
He did everything by the books. I think you could work when you were 14. You had to be like 14 and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
But
so
there were
I think
labor laws.
Exactly. I think I worked, it was just, I probably worked there 4 or 5 or 6 different times, but it was like 3 weeks to a month at most of the time. And then I was just like, yeah, this is, I'd either have to have Dane pick me up or mom pick me up. I didn't have a way to get there or ride my bike, so.
Yep. And, it wasn't, Lon and I remember doing the same thing. And until you said something, I hadn't remembered. But I remember going back after I left several times. And I think you're right. It usually was inventory when we went in to help him. Like, I don't know if he ever took us off the payroll. I think he just left us on payroll all the time. And that way we could still come in and help out.
Yeah, like I said, I think he would have let us come and work whenever we felt like it. Because we knew how to work, we knew how to bust our butt and get things done, but it was just, that was not for me.
I like working, and it was the same thing at Costco. When I first got married, the first time I worked at Costco and Sears, and I hated working at Costco because it was basically trash and aisles, the same thing, and I felt like a monkey could do my job if they had the muscles to do it. I didn't feel like there was really any thought process that went through, but all my managers would always tell me how good of a job I'm doing. And it's like, I'm moving pallets and stacking them and making them look nice.
That's the sad thing about it, because nowadays that is a admirable trait. It's getting your job done.
Yeah, without having to berate somebody
babysat?
without.
Yep.
But the thing is, it's like if you're going to babysit somebody, it's not worth keeping them around, in my opinion.
I agree.
We're looking at it from a manager standpoint now. I mean, it's or an owner, as well. It's the same thing. Working for Gus now, I totally understand. Why he probably didn't. After I went 4 times or 5 times, he didn't want me to come back because I just left. Well, most of the time I thought it was just for inventory, but I think he needed the extra people, and I wasn't willing to stick around. But during inventory, he absolutely needed the extra people. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's funny. Bubs and I kind of just had a conversation similar to that today, where we were talking about, it's all about expectations, and if you settle on your expectations, you're never going to be able to get to the level you were at. So don't settle on your expectations. That's something Pet Boys did. Is we hired you if you had a pulse. And when I went to Best Buy, we were very selective about who we hired. Just because somebody had the best resume and looked best on paper, doesn't necessarily mean they would have been the best fit either. So there was a 90-day probation, and I'm all about a 90-day probation where somebody can come in and you either fit with the team or you don't. And if at the end of 90 days you don't fit, it's like, hey, you know what, this just didn't work, or you know what, this worked great. We're actually going to give you a 25-cent raise, or whatever the case may be.
See ya.
Yep.
All right, so I guess it's my turn for my first job. My first job that I was going to talk about was working at Papa Kelsey's. And I started...
Not the one I thought you were going to go with.
Where were we going to go? Where did you think I was going?
I was thinking Mel Qualities. I thought
So
I
that was
totally
my
forgot
second
you
job.
worked it. Yep,
Yeah.
totally forgot.
I'll go into that a little bit.
Wasn't that owned by Mike? I can't remember. He was in our ward.
Well, no. He lived in Kimberly, the owner. I can't. His last name was Kelsey, but I can't remember what his first name was.
Oh, Zeke's dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I went to college with Zeke, but no, it was. I thought somebody in our ward managed it or something like that.
Yes, yeah. There was a guy that managed it. No, oh no,
I
no,
thought his
no,
name was Mike.
no. You're thinking the guy that managed the place that does the sour pig. Oh gosh.
Yes, I totally am. Yep, I'm.
But I
am
can't think
totally
of that
thinking
restaurant either now. Off
Yeah,
the top
right
of my
across
head.
the street from where the A&W used to be.
Exactly. But I can't think of the name of the restaurant. But yeah, the sour pig
Maxie's?
pizzas. Maxie's Pizza. Yep, exactly. So anyway, yeah, my first job, Papa Kelsey's. I started working there. I think I worked there for a good 8 months. Maybe it wasn't that long.
What kind of work was it?
So Papa Kelsey's is a restaurant. It's a locally owned. I think they had 2 restaurants when I was there. They made their own bread. They made sandwiches.
Their bread was incredible.
Yeah, they're actually, my favorite part was their garlic bread, and I would make it super garlicky when I would make it for myself. But
My wife would love you for that.
so they had an awesome garlic bread. Their bread is really good. It's all made in house, all made in the morning. So I mean, it was good. All these different type of sandwiches they had. I mean, realistically,
Hot subs, like
Yeah.
usually went through the oven.
Yep, all of them went through
Really
the
good.
oven.
Man, their bread was good.
Their salads were really good. I mean, like their food was good, especially for a quick, fast-paced. I mean, it wasn't a fast food, but it was as fast as you could get. You still had booths, but we'd bring the food out to you. We'd give you a number, that type of thing. And we had the regulars, and so I got to try. And pizzas. They made pizzas as well. So I tried all new types of things, making my own sandwiches, because after the first month and a half, you've tried everything on the daggone menu, and so.
And that, just so everyone knows, that's the exact reason why when I go to a restaurant, I ask the server or the people that make it to make me whatever they like, because obviously they've tried basically everything on the menu. I always ask the server, whoever it is, because they obviously know what's going to taste best, or they put their own little twist on whatever it is.
I agree. That's like one of my favorite ways to get a food from a restaurant like that.
I think I got some of my best pizza I've ever had by doing it that way.
I actually went into Braylon's work, Lonnon's oldest daughter, 2 days ago, and I was like, Braylon, what do you not hate still? And she's all like, you need to get the eggplant parmesan. It's the only thing I can still eat here. Working here for 2 years.
Absolutely.
It is top notch, no doubt about that.
So my bishop's wife, that's actually what she does. She goes into a restaurant with her husband, and it drives him crazy. But she's like, just surprise me. And they're like, what do you mean? Bring me out whatever you want to bring me.
I think that's awesome.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So anyway, I'm working there probably 6 to 8 months. I think they're looking on me pretty fondly because I get my work done and I'm making sure that things are happening. Well, Doug did something. I don't know what it was, to be honest with you. Maybe I do. I just don't remember. Maybe I don't know off the top of my head, but he got fired. And so I was only working there because Doug was working there. He was one of my best friends in high school. So thinking back on this, it was dumb. But I called up that night and I was like, yeah, I quit. I don't need to be here. I don't need this job. I was only there because Doug was there. So thanks, but I'm good. I'll pick up my paycheck on paycheck day.
I totally didn't know that.
Yeah, now looking back on it, it was really mean of me. But the manager there was an absolute jerk to start off with. He was always a jerk. And so it didn't give me
do people quit companies?
Right. No, people quit managers. And I think I didn't quit because of him. I quit because I didn't need to be there and Doug got fired.
But if he was awesome, you might have stayed.
Yeah. I probably would have stayed for at least a while, or at least give him my 2 weeks, and actually worked there the 2 weeks. But I didn't want to deal with him anymore. And, if Doug wasn't going to be there, then, I didn't want to have to work with some of the other staff that had got newly hired on. I'd actually worked with Zeke for a little while. And he was cool. But yeah, I didn't want to deal with it. So I went over to the Milk Qualities the next day, and I used to go browse Milk Qualities constantly through their stereo section. They have like a used or a garage sale area, if you will. And so I'd go in there, and I was constantly browsing. And
that's awesome.
I would constantly be asked, are you looking for a job? And be like, no. And finally one day I went in and I talked to one of Milk Quality's sons. I don't remember which one it was.
So what's Milk Qualities? I know, but for everybody else.
Milk Qualities is a big electronics store. I mean, they had probably one of the coolest sound rooms. I mean, it was all acoustically.
It was the Circuit City and Best Buy that we didn't have in Twin Falls.
Without a doubt. I mean, they had high-end stuff. They had lower-end stuff. They didn't have much car audio, but it was mostly all home audio, hi-fi, or really
TVs.
hi-fi, and TVs. I mean, DVD players before anybody else had DVD players, So
When DVD players were $1,000.
I totally thought that they were just a used stereo place. I did not realize they did all new stuff too.
no, most of their stuff was news, but that's because new stuff. But that's because I always brought home the used stuff because they would sell it to me. One,
Cheap.
because I worked there. Before I worked there, they sold it cheap. But after I started working there, they would sell it to me even cheaper. I got them for some really good deals.
Well, you got what, a Macintosh amp for super cheap?
No, I tried to get them to sell me that Mac that just sat in the back there multiple times. They have a Mac tube amplifier. It's probably still sitting there today. But I did get them a Marantz amp.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was a nice amp. It was all digital, but it was a good amp. And I had that one for quite some time. And so I worked there I think I worked there until we moved from Twin Falls to Shoshone. And
Yeah, you were still there.
Yeah, so I mean, I quit then because I wasn't going to drive back and forth. So that was my first 2 jobs, because the
That's when
first
you
one
got your
didn't go
bug.
very fast. Actually, my bug came from I did have my bug then, but so my bug came from Mark Burgess, but Dad had bought me an amplifier for Christmas one year, and it died because I was overdriving it. Well, he bought it from Costco, so he's like, "Well, just take it back to Costco. They'll give you money back." And they gave me $325 back. I took the money from that and went and bought my first vehicle with that, my bug. So
Nice.
Which caught on fire.
All right.
I went and pressure washed it and caught on fire. So I think it's Griffith's turn.
Shortly. Yes, it's my turn. All right. So my first job was working at AutoZone. I guess it was. I walked in there 18 years old. As funny as it is, I'd been in there a lot because I had done side projects for cars for a long time, and so
They knew Griffith's name before
Yes.
he even applied.
Yeah, and so one of the managers approached me about working there, and I was like, well, wait till I'm 18. And when I turned 18, the day I turned 18, I went and applied for the job. And I always laugh because my interview was not with the manager that it was with their new store manager that had just taken over, which was Gene. And
I love Gene.
Gene came in his street clothes, and what's funny is that first time I had seen Gene, he's been in his typical AutoZone attire, which is slacks and a red shirt. Well, Gene showed up in baggy baseball.
Track pants.
Track pants, I guess would say it. I would say the typical ghetto, wow, you're from the hood type of getup, and it kind of shocked me because I got to be interviewed like that, and so I was a little bit surprised.
Did he have chains?
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, full blown. Just how you would see if someone was walking down in the ghetto. That was Gene. But as soon as Gene dressed up, you would not assume that from him.
I didn't picture him at all doing that. At
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, it was bad. And so I started working at AutoZone. I actually worked there for about 2 years. And a mix. I initially worked there, and I was going to be promoted to a manager within with about 2 months of being there. And then Dad started his business, which is Eco, which Baron, you'll find about that quickly, maybe. And so I started to do that. And I think it's now probably up to Baron.
So
If you were only there 2 months?
2 years.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I thought you said 2 months.
No, I was there 2 years, but they were starting to turn me into a manager in about 2 months.
Oh, okay.
So
I left.
What'd you learn from that job, Griffey?
Retail sucks balls.
Yeah, I could kind of go with that. Is that it was very much a learning experience of getting into the, having to wake up on time, which I never really had that problem, except for when they would throw me throw me early shifts.
I think my least favorite thing about that type of job, because I worked at Pep Boys as well, is having to deal with customers that need their car fixed now and they're angry about it.
They're mad at you because their car broke. You're the one that's fixing it, but they're taking all their anger out on you.
I think
Never
my
had that
favorite
problem.
one is the one that Griffith had a customer that came in and said, "I need a water pump." Okay, what for? Doesn't matter. It's for a small block Chevy.
No. Fuel pump.
Oh, fuel
I had
pump.
someone come in for a fuel pump. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's a small block Chevy. I'm like, okay, cool. I think I looked it up for like a 65 Nova, which I knew was an obscure fuel pump. And
Wait, was it a Nova or a Biscayne?
I don't remember. All I know is that I intentionally looked up a fuel pump I didn't have and was exceptionally expensive. Like, you know what a mechanical lift pump, mechanical fuel pumps cost like $18. This one was $150 mechanical lift pump. And I ordered it in, and the guy walks in about a week later, all pissed off because I ordered him a pump that was wrong and it didn't fit his truck. And I went, well, what kind of truck you got? He goes, it's a 1985 Chevy 1500. Oh, look, I have that in stock,
I
and
guess
it's only
you should have told me that.
it's only $18.
I love you. I love you already.
I did it. I honestly, I did it as kind of a dick move because I was just like, they had fed
Here's a
me
lesson.
up. Yeah, like, don't come into me. It's not like we're asking stupid questions, and you probably picked the wrong person to do that with. I was not the typical AutoZone employee that you could have called and asked for a radiator for a 1963 bug, which we used to do all the time to AutoZone when I worked at O'Reilly's.
Did you guys have blinker fluid too?
No.
Muffler bearings?
I did call frequently. It was fun to call and ask what a water pump looked like for a Toyota Tacoma 3.4. If anyone is curious, you should look one of those up.
3.4 liter Tacoma water pump? I'm
Toyota Tacoma.
Right
Okay, so just tell us why. I don't know.
Because it looks like a penis and balls.
Are you kidding me?
I'm
No
not
way.
joking.
No way.
Yeah, it totally does.
What is it, a 3.2?
3.2 or 3.4. V6, whatever it is.
That's so crazy.
So, yeah, so that taught me...
Did you look it up, Case?
taught
No.
me shifts
Oh
and-
my gosh.
Send me a picture.
I'll
put it up
send
on
you
our,
a picture.
We'll put it
Okay.
up on our Instagram. We're at King Ugly Crew King Ugly Crew on Facebook and Instagram. I'll post that picture of that water pump. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, so that was when I worked at O'Reilly's, and I did that to AutoZone. I did that to O'Reilly's a couple times when I worked at AutoZone as well. I do stupid things like that just because I was messing with them, and nothing better than having someone call up and ask for a thermostat for a 63 bug.
Okay, so it's a silhouette of it is what you're saying. That's what it looks like. It's like
Yes,
from
I'm sending
10
it.
Things I Hate About You. I've got a D on my face, don't I?
Yes. So yeah, and it absolutely looked that way, and so it was funny to get them to have to get you to describe it.
Okay, check your phones.
What's it look like? That's hilarious.
That's so mean. That is so mean. But why'd you eventually switch to O'Reilly's?
Money. Two reasons really, and money was not it because AutoZone was going to pay me. I was done working at AutoZone. I had too many customers that I had tried to go above and beyond trying to help them out. I probably what really put me over the edge is that I had a guy that I helped out after work because I could do that type of stuff, and he came into work all pissed off because his window fell off the track, and that was something that I supposedly fixed, which I didn't. And so he went and got one of my managers, and I got yelled at for helping someone do work on cars. So after that, I kind of made it my more or less. I walked into O'Reilly's and they approached me about it, and I started as an assistant manager there and started working at ultimately it was Checker. As funny as that is, I actually worked at Checker, and the district manager of AutoZone came down about 6 times to try to get me to come back to AutoZone, and I just was like, I don't want to do that. And I actually lived really shortly at AutoZone because I went to,
You mean O'Reilly?
O'Reilly's, because originally I went to O'Reilly's. I'm like, oh yeah, the grass is going to be so much greener with these customers, which it was. But I was really done with retail, and I had a friend that had me start working at Honda, and that's kind of where I started in the dealership world of parts, which was way different.
Yeah, I could totally imagine that.
Still having to deal with people that have broken cars, but an absolutely different experience, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But they're willing to pay 3 times as much for the same part?
they're willing to pay 3 times as much, and not only are they willing to pay, which wasn't my issue with that, I didn't have to deal with them on the service side of it, and I didn't have to fix their cars. Someone walk in and go, "What you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Service department's right there. You can go over and ask them and have them deal with it." It was more like I was a lot easier to just push the buck to the next person.
Which is so funny.
Oh, I can sell you a part, but if you don't know what it is, you're gonna have to go to the service department. They'll
Which
find
is
it out for
which
you.
is hilarious because Griffey is the best diagnosed person that I know personally.
Yeah,
The-
right up there.
The problem is that it bites you. And that was what
Absolutely.
I had to learn it the hard way. Is that people are not
the world we live in.
not as smart on diagnosing as we are, and I tell you that because I now work in a place that I have to diagnose people and their stupid Cummins and like just obvious problems with their trucks. They call and you're
Have
like,
you checked your fuel pressure yet? It's not my fuel pressure. I've replaced the pump.
Do you have fuel?
Yeah, have you? No, I've gotten that too. Is there? There's so many things that I've had problems with, and so
Have you tried turning it off and turn it back on again?
yeah, we've done that. We've told people that. So yes, I mean now I'm back to doing similar, but I don't have to deal with one-on-one to face-to-face. I actually prefer the phone. I actually have fun with talking to people over the phone.
Well, and the majority of the guys you're selling to are
They know what
fixing
they're
up their
talking about.
trucks, or they're having they don't necessarily know what they're talking about, but they're doing it
Have a
as a
desire.
fun thing, not as a have to do thing most of the time.
And I would say that makes a big difference in people's attitude.
Absolutely. When you're
They're wanting to spend the money, not having to spend the money.
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Alrighty, Brownie.
So Bear.
Hey, guys. So my first job was working for Dad, and that was doing fuel additives. But to get away from working with Dad, well, not to get away, but that business kind of died. So I ended up my first, I guess, real job where I didn't work for somebody and I was on somebody else's payroll. Well, I didn't work for Dad and I was on somebody's payroll. It was actually for a mobile billboard company. I totally forgot about that one. So
What? When?
do you
I
remember?
don't remember that.
Yeah, when I was driving around for like advertising the Nutcracker. And
It wasn't that
It was-
long though, right?
No, it was like 3 or 4 months.
Oh, I thought it
And
was like 3
I
weeks.
have a generator to prove where it came from.
Yeah.
Yep,
So it started out with the guy wanted to put an auxiliary generator in the back of one of his mobile billboards because it wasn't like a typical mobile billboard like you'd see on the Las Vegas Strip. It was a box. Like it was an equal sized box on each side, probably 8 foot by 8 foot by about 8 feet tall. And it had these banners on the inside that would scroll. We would actually remove the banners and he would have live people in there talking back and forth. And there were some really loud speakers and horns on the thing and just talking to people on the strip. And so
That's
the
kind of
problem
cool,
is,
actually.
yeah, they were trying to do this in the middle of the summer and they couldn't keep the inside of it
It's
cool.
a bit hot
Yeah. So
in Las Vegas in the
they
summer.
wanted us to put
In
this
the back of a
generator
van.
in. And it was loud. I mean, it didn't work the way that it probably could have been designed. I mean, at the time I was only 18 years old and he asked an 18-year-old, "Hey, put a generator into the back of my $160,000 advertising truck." But whatever. So, but that was my first job.
So you put the generator inside the box?
Not
Like this
inside
is an
the
enclosed
box. I actually
It
put
was
it in
underneath, right?
where like there would be a spare tire on a normal truck.
Oh, okay. How big
Yeah.
is the generator? Like watts?
4,000 or something like that. It was a
Yeah.
big one.
It's got like a 13 horse engine on it.
To
Yeah,
run
it
an
might
air
be.
conditioner?
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
So how did it go from that? Did he had you do it and I was like, "Hey, you want to drive one of the trucks?"
it
And was
actually
this a
came.
commercial? Like it was commercially sized, so you didn't have to have a CDL to do it.
No, it's medium duty, so it has hydraulic brakes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it was the what was it? Isuzu NPR.
Like an Isuzu, yeah.
Yeah, it was an Isuzu NPR with a 5.2 little turbo diesel in it, and that thing was peppy. I was really surprised with that little turbo diesel.
They're great motors.
Yeah, 5.2 liter 4-cylinder. It was huge. But no, the way that came about was he was down drivers. I mean, it was him and another guy that drove both trucks. And so the other guy got called out for something. He called me last minute and was like, "Hey, hop in this truck and go drive it around for me." So I sat in a truck and drove for 4 hours. It's actually where I listened to the last Harry Potter book because I'd started the last Harry Potter book like 3 times, and I got to where the first movie ends 2 times and never finished it. So that's the time I got to finish it. I was driving up and down the strip.
Funny.
I totally, completely forgot about that. Didn't we build that thing in front of Griffey's house?
No, I built it in front of our house off of Gibson.
Yeah, I didn't have a house yet.
Okay,
Bear,
so
what'd
did
you
you
do
have another
after?
job after? Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
So after that, I kind of floated around for a bit, but then I got a job making motorcycle parts for like chain guards and stuff out of polyurethane for a
What?
guy out in Pahrump.
Yeah,
Remember
what?
that's when I was staying at your house in Pahrump.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember. Actually, I remember going over there now one time or 2
Okay,
times.
so go into detail on this. What'd you make?
So we just made the chain slider guards.
For all
vintage.
different kinds of bikes?
No,
Yeah,
for vintage motorcycles.
No, it wasn't vintage. It was everything.
Oh, was it? I thought
Well,
it was vintage.
all dirt bikes. I mean, street bikes don't really have chain guards. So, but it was just
Yeah, they do.
Mine does.
Almost every street bike has a chain guard
Well, we didn't make them for street bikes. We just made them for dirt
with a
bikes.
chain.
And
They
quite
weren't just
honestly,
chain guards; they were also chain slides, right? So
yeah,
where
it was
you
the
would
chain
slide-
sliders, the ones that would go around the swing arm, and then the ones that would kind of align it right before it goes on the main drive sprocket.
So how
And-
did you get involved with that?
So a buddy of mine in the singles ward, he had heard that I was a mechanic, or at least had wrenched on cars at that point in time, and he's all like, "Oh, sweet, we need a guy over there that's good with mechanics." Well, come to find out, he wanted someone that was good at engineering, not mechanics. And I, quite honestly, only took the job because it was hanging out with this buddy of mine, and we could just, because we went to parties all the time together, and I was like, oh, whatever, we can have a good time together. So
Were
I
you
actually,
Were you still living at home? I mean, other than on my couch?
I was, yeah, I mean, I slept at your house 4 days a week, and I went to work at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and what I would try and do is work 14 hours a day,
I just
so I could
couldn't
get
remember.
40 hours in and then go home.
I couldn't remember if this was before or after mission. Is what I was getting at.
Oh no, this is all pre-mission. So this is the job that I had right before I went on my mission, and so
you were like, hey, I can get paid for hanging out with my buddy.
basically all I did was trim the extra polyurethane that was on the parts after they came out of the mold. I just trimmed them off,
What'd you get paid?
like $9.50 an hour.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I've never made minimum wage ever. I had that drive-in truck job that was $10 an hour, and so
Yeah, neither did I. I started at $10 an hour at AutoZone.
I hate you guys.
Wait, so why didn't that stick around, Bear? Like the driving
So-
the driving job, not the polyurethane one. I remember
the
that.
driving job. So to go off on accidents, I guess. So the very last night I drove, I was pulling out of the parking lot and I somehow cut the corner too tight as I was backing out of the spot and ended up sideswiping this BMW right alongside of me as I was
Ouch.
backing out with the front bumper. I totally forgot about that actually, but he never had me drive after that, so it kind of makes sense.
Shocker.
Shocker.
Yeah.
You hit a BMW.
Yeah. So it was a 3 Series. It wasn't new. It was like a 90s Beamer.
Have we
But-
mentioned Baron's the best driver of us?
Best driver, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what the worst part about it is? I put more miles than any of you guys do a year right now.
Negative.
That's the scary part.
Maybe-
That's negative.
Now, are you sure? I drive to Price twice a week.
I have put 12,000 miles on my truck in 2 months.
Okay, you put more miles on anybody. I'll give that to you because I've only put 40,000 miles on my truck this year.
That's crazy.
Baron's the winner. We'll go with that.
Okay, so that's how I lost that
Of
job.
accidents.
And then the way I lost the next job was the owner of the little motorcycle parts place that we worked at. He had a Suzuki 400 LT450, and he had this little Kawasaki mule. And so we called and asked if we could go take him out. And he said yes. Well, we didn't know that the air cleaner had fallen off of the Kawasaki mule, and he didn't tell us about this. And so we went and drove that all around in the desert without
Seized
an air
it?
filter. No, it ran just fine when we came back. But no, it
Just
was
fine and
really
smoked?
strange. I don't know. He said nothing was wrong with it, but the air filter had fallen off. But what was really strange is he thought we partied at his house because he had a jacuzzi, and the covers were off the jacuzzi, and there was towels everywhere, and like what we ended up finding out, somebody actually broke into his house and partied in his house.
And used his... That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, partied at his house because he was gone
It's
for a couple of
prompt.
weeks.
He probably
True.
did drugs and a whole bunch of other stuff because that's corrupt.
Yeah.
So did your buddy lose his job too?
Yeah, we both got fired.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize you got fired.
Well, he's all like, "Well, I'm not gonna have you come back," and I was not too hurt because I was going on my mission in 3 weeks.
Wrongful termination.
Oh,
Go back and sue him, Baron. Do it.
really? He's out of business. I actually sold the company now.
Oh, well. Serves
And-
him right.
It
Really?
Sue
wasn't the
that
nicest
company.
place, if I remember correctly. I think I went over there with Baron like once or twice, and it wasn't. It was rather prumpish.
Yeah,
In the
it was. I was
ghetto.
working in a garage, working in some dude's garage with an oven, and it was between February and April is when I was there.
Deal. All right, I think we're ready to go on to case.
Hey,
I guess I took over moderating from you, Griff. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm terrible at moderating, as you can tell.
Yeah, narrator.
I'm a much better narrator than a moderator. I like listening to the stories.
He likes listening to me
Someone-
recite the warranty card.
Needs to moderate the moderator.
Someone moderate me, moderating everyone, please.
Oh,
Case.
stop it.
Moderation.
All right, Case, you are next in this list of jobs.
Okay, so me and Baron had the same first job working for Dad, doing the Eco Energizer thing.
Baron and I.
Okay, I apologize.
Wow, getting the grammar in
Wow.
here. My goodness, jeez.
Okay.
Grammar Nazi!
Okay, go, Case.
Baroni and I. Okay, got it. You good, Dane? You happy now?
No,
Yeah, do you
that
know?
wasn't good enough.
Do you know how to use me or I? Do you know why? Take the other person out of it, and the way it sounds correct, like I did this, then you'd say I. Baron and I.
I've been dealing with a 4-year-old. Okay.
Hey,
All
it's
he-
Chunk's
all-
birthday. Happy
all he-
birthday, Chunk.
Happy birthday, Reason. And all he says is, me did it. So, sorry, I have that mentality in my head, dealing with that all the time.
I did it.
Yeah, so Baron and I started the same job, worked in our garage, basically, and just earned extra cash when we were well below working age.
I was 16.
Yep. Yeah,
Or
you were
17.
16.
I was 16, turning 17.
Yeah, I was 14, 15, because I wasn't even I was going into freshman year when
But
that started.
technically, labor laws don't pertain if you're working for your father or your family.
Oh, I didn't
you
mind.
yeah.
I
Or yourself.
I loved working for Dad. I mean, it was extra money.
Making money.
Yeah,
Well, you were
and you-
making $7 an hour. Dad was
At
paying
least-
me $10 an hour.
At least you were making money. That was a thing. Like when me and Dane worked for Dad, you know what we did? I got to live in the house.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I would agree with that as well, because I didn't get paid either.
Sorry,
I got
guys.
I got to pay for a fence that I ran through with a Jaguar.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Hey.
At least he got paid for that. Like I worked for Dad multiple summers. Nope, never got paid. Never got paid.
Sorry. That's just how it works, guys. The younger generation is just spoiled, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Except we did get dinner every night.
We did like homemade dinner, not
Well,
not store bought dinner.
and
and
Lonnon,
not
you got
fast
your
food.
F-350 as well. Like, you had worked for Dad for like 4 years, but
I
you
did,
got
but
a
I was
brand new
getting-
F-350 when you were
and
20 years
I
old.
was getting paid.
I got my
then.
Jeep.
Yeah, I was getting paid then. There was, I mean, don't get me wrong. There was benefits for working for Dad. You
Yes,
know,
when we got to Vegas, we all got paid.
I
And
got-
he did pay us very well for what we worked.
actually, it was funny because when we worked in Shoshone, I know this is Case's story. I apologize, Case.
No,
We-
it's fine. I don't
we
need
worked
to
in
talk. I
Shoshone.
don't want to be here anyways.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
how you can leave.
I got
Bye.
$100 a week, and like Dad would be, "What do you need $100 for?" I'm going snowboarding, and I got to go out with my friends. What's $100? You know, I knew how much he was making off these machines. Anyway, okay, Case, go ahead.
Okay, so that was technically my not first job because I was working for Dad and get paid under the table. So my actual first job wasn't until I graduated high school when I was 18. I know I'm a slacker, but I didn't really need to go to work, and I was doing other things during high school that kept me busy.
At least you
Drama.
graduated high school.
Yeah, at least I graduated
Ouch.
high school.
Ouch.
That's a stab at Griff and Lonnon.
No, that was a stab at myself. I didn't graduate either. That wasn't just you, Griff.
I'm gonna go cry in the corner now.
I did get my GED.
You should just go slit your wrists.
I'm working on it right now.
Love you, Fuff. It's been
All right.
good.
Go ahead, Case.
Golly, I'm never gonna get through this, am I? Apparently,
It just makes it interesting.
I agree. This is fun.
yeah. So my first jobs, I went.
All
Obviously,
right, and we're done with Case.
Thanks, moderator. Thank you. You're a jerk. Okay, so Dad had a really good relationship with the manager at Discount Tire off of Windmill and Pecos in Henderson, or is that Vegas?
It was
Henderson.
Henderson.
That is Hendertucky.
Okay, and
No,
so,
that's Henderson. Where
Just
Lonnon
barely.
lived is Hendertucky.
yeah, Henderson is just barely on the other side of Eastern. So I went over there and I was like, "Hey, can I talk to Vassy?" And the manager at the time was like, "Actually, he's moving to a different location." And he's like, "Why? What do you need to talk to Vassy for?" And I'm like, "Honestly, I'm looking for a job." And he's like, "Cool, we're actually hiring right now." So I was literally hired on the spot. Like, didn't even interview or anything. Or kind of interview. He's like, "Do you know how to change a tire?" And I'm like, "Sure, I know how to change a tire." Obviously, changing a tire on a machine versus changing a tire off of like a spare tire.
Off a vehicle, yeah.
Totally
Different.
different things. Yeah, I didn't realize
Not
that.
removing the 5 lug nuts. That's not what he's referring to. He was
No,
referring to
he's
taking the tire off of the wheel.
Correct. And so I was like, yes, I can absolutely change a tire. But luckily, I'm a quick pickup on a lot of things. Like, it's not that hard to change a tire now.
You're a Jensen.
Yeah, I'm just so thankful for that I am. But it was just so nice. They hired me on the spot, no issue. Robbie was a great first manager for me. I actually never would have left if I would have stayed with Robbie, but I'll explain that in a second. But so I started there at $10 an hour, worked my butt off.
Hate you.
Hey, that was for what I did as a tire technician. That's what I deserved.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
that is
They work
such
their
hard
butts
work.
off. Hey,
Okay.
I busted tires too.
I mean, Case went from 280 pounds to when he left Discount Tire. What were you, like 150?
No.
So, no.
Before I went to being a full-time person, I was down to 180.
So
So
Case and I switched places. When I went on my mission, I weighed 190 pounds, and when I came home, I weighed 240 because I went local. Well, I went stateside, and I came home at 240, and Case was 190 pounds. I was like, "Holy crap, I'm fat." Case is lighter than me for the first time in my life.
Rocky Road?
And Case is, may we mention, 5 inches taller than Baron.
Yes.
5 inches. Wow. When did 5 inches become? I'm 5'11" and Case is 6'3".
You're
Wow.
5'4"
You didn't graduate
something
from
like
high
that.
school. You
Yeah.
can tell.
So
you're like 5'4" or something like that. I don't
Okay,
know. You're small.
I was 6'4" right out of high school. I don't know. I've shrunk an inch since then. So Baron was right. It was 5, or Griffith was right. It's 5 inches. But yeah,
Depends on what shoes you're wearing.
Wait a minute. So what you're trying to tell me is that my math was perfect and Baron graduated high school?
Case has always
Guys.
said he's been 6'3".
Guys,
Are you
We
serious?
just found out in this election, okay, that in Las Vegas, we're number 50th in education, and we have a hard time counting.
Thank you, Dane.
All right, Case, continue.
So I just worked my butt off, made some really good friends at Discount Tire.
Mikey Roosh.
Yep, met Mikey Roosh there, met Jared Carter there.
He's only Mikey because you called him Mikey because there was 2 Mikes, right?
I don't remember
Like,
why
I don't think any of his other family calls him Mikey.
Mike
like,
DeShane there?
Yeah,
No,
that was
no.
afterwards.
And Scott, you met Scott there, didn't you?
Yeah, I met Scott when I first came manager or assistant manager. I met Scott, met John. Lot of really good lifetime friends from Discount Tire, and I learned a whole lot from working hard. I just had the mentality to go to work, and I worked as hard as I could while I was at work, and so I got a 50-cent raise after 3 months, and then got bumped up to like $12 like 6 months after that. And dude, I just kept making it through because I just got the mentality that you start as a tire technician, just changing tires, listen to the service coordinator, then you become a service coordinator, and then you can move up to actually selling things from the back room, which is actually a really good way to do things because the people that are working on the tires or working on the things, they can throw a rim on the car while the car's up in the air. Like, hey, come check out this wheel on your car. I think it looks great on there. And that's how I got a lot of my sales, was from the back room. And I think I was one of the highest producing back room salesmen for the company for that year or two I worked there.
Wait, a Jensen is good at sales?
Back door, you know, and be like, hey, come back here.
Hey, come back here. I got something for you. No. I would just pull him up the door. I'm like, look, this rim looks amazing on your car. I can get them out the door for you for $500 today. And usually I can get a sale from that.
Bring around the loaner.
Case is still the one I go to for wheel questions.
I understood the dynamics of wheels and what fit what and tires and
offsets.
Well, and not just that though. I mean, it's a sales thing. You know, you kind of felt the person out. Yeah, I think I could sell that dude on a set of wheels.
It's emotional. You make it emotional.
100%, and that's honestly how I sold so much while I was at Discount Tire, because you just get to know the person in that short amount of time. So. Discount Tire was awesome. I worked my butt off, and that's what I want to get at is, guys, the first job you have, I mean, it might suck. It might be a terrible thing you do, but just work as hard as you possibly can, because when you're at work, you work. You make it some good relationships, and then you just better yourself each and every day. Because
unless you work at a grocery store, and then
get a hang out.
So working minimum wage, I knew I did not want to work minimum wage, but you got to do the minimum wage jobs until you can prove that you're worth the extra money and you're worth the extra hours. So that's what I'd say I learned from my first job is I knew what I didn't want to do, and I knew how much money I didn't want to make.
What's this minimum job you speak of? I've never had one.
I don't know what minimum wage is. What are you talking about?
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I hate you guys.
Actually, Dane, you didn't work minimum wage either. We worked close to it, but
pretty freaking close.
50 cents. But think about that. That's a 10% over what minimum wage already was. I mean,
but it's not like $4.75 was a livable wage.
But absolutely not.
That's what you pay a 15-year-old when they're working at a grocery outlet.
Right, but again, you got to remember, every one of these other kids, they didn't get a job until they were way older than we were. We were starting at 14 and 15. Yeah. So
I'm just saying a $15 minimum wage doesn't make sense because you got to work for the $15
absolutely
a job.
Absolutely.
And minimum wage jobs are minimum wage jobs because they're there to teach you the skills, and not because when you're learning all these things, you shouldn't be making buku bucks. You should be learning in order to be able to grasp it and understand it.
It shouldn't be a living wage. Money. It should just be a learning wage.
Agreed.
Yes.
But I learned how to hustle before that. That's the reason I didn't have a job till I was 18.
And that's
all of us did. I mean, look at all of us in the jobs that we've had and where we've turned out. I mean, all of us have moved up, considerably. And it's not because we're super brilliant. I mean, it's because we have a good work ethic. We're quick studies. We're good with people. We understand people. And, I mean, Lonnon, I think you said it when we go to work. Case, you said it too. We give 110%.
I'm a hustler, baby.
Yeah, it's just that mentality. Like it's not just because it's in our blood and our DNA. It's also we can teach our children this and teach the people around us that, hey, it's good to work hard. It's not okay just to sit on your butt all day and play video games. It's not okay to do that. You got to get out there and work, and then you can enjoy the downtime. And that's how all of us are right now. We all work our butts off when we work. And I know, Dane, you don't work right now, but you're still a dad at heart. I mean, you're a stay-at-home dad, and you're working your butt off every day.
He's working.
I'm a real estate agent.
He's doing real estate stuff.
And I just sold a house today that I built.
Every day he's hustling.
I don't think that you built it. I think that you had it.
I had it built. But
a little
hey,
different.
I profited from it.
I don't know if I've seen you swing a hammer there.
I have not. But you know what? Once you get the money to pay somebody else to make it and you can profit off of somebody's labor, 100%. I highly recommend it.
Agreed. Yes, I'm not disagreeing on that at all.
Well, just to step in there, like the reason that I ended up leaving Discount Tire, I love working for the company, but again, it was retail. I can't deal with angry people very well. And when they get confrontational, I just had a lot of that the last store I worked at, every single person, I swear, just came in. There wasn't a good day for the last 3 months I worked there. Like
And-
it was.
And
Discount totally takes advantage of its managers.
and your awesome brother might have hooked you up with a job where you made a lot more money, or at least the same amount of money.
No, I definitely made more money switching different careers, and that's actually the career I'm in now is mining or blasting. And I'm very
Case's
thankful.
title is Master Blaster.
Correct. But I'm very thankful for the time the information I learned at my first job and how to work hard and be able to just, buckle down when I needed to and work really long hours. Where now I'm actually working the least amount of time in my life, but I'm making more money than ever. And it's really nice to get to that point. But I had to work for it. I mean, I was working 70-hour weeks at certain points, 80-hour weeks. I know there's a lot of people out there that do the same thing, but guys, just keep working towards a better opportunity. Because in my opinion, family means the absolute most to me. I think it's for all of us actually. But I rather spend the time with my family than at work. And so that's where I'm at. I loved my first job. Absolutely loved it. I'm one of the rare people that can say that. But I've only had 4 jobs in my entire life. But Discount Tire was great.
One door shuts and another one opens, and if that doesn't
Absolutely.
open, at least a window.
Yep.
I completely agree. I mean, just jump through wherever you can jump through. It's just you take what's there when it's given to you. Obviously, do a little bit of research, and yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Case. I think we're gonna round this up. This has been, I wouldn't say one of our longest podcasts, but it's getting to the edge of it. And,
It was fun though.
as always, if you guys have any suggestions, please go to our Instagram. It's King Ugly Crew. Something I don't remember what. I don't even know what our own Instagram.
Just it's just at King Ugly Crew or hashtag King Ugly Crew, and then also our email, which is kinguglycrew@gmail.com.
And
Send us an email.
Please send in some suggestions. I mean, we love talking about things, but we want to know from other people what they want us to talk about, because we'll start talking in circles real soon. If not,
Nothing's off the table. Bring it. We'll talk about it.
yep. And just remember, stay ugly.